This is a poem written by someone else. No, I wrote this poem, but he's the one that submitted something to 32 publishers and finally published it himself and sold thousands of copies. Getting published is a work of art. It is a war, an overthrow of tired ways, well-intentioned habits, ways of reviewers long grown stale, so stale they hardly know habits had formed. Every applicant for publishing will be seen in part, I say, in part only as a nuisance, as somebody whose work is probably pretty mediocre. That's probably unconsciously why the reviewer never heard of her or him. I know a book about design. Good book, very good book, very, very good book. But who was this guy who wrote it? He submitted it to 32 publishers, got 32 rejections, of which 6 were on little personal notes praising the book, but it wasn't what they were looking for. 11 sent reject notices, the usual, so at least the author knew what didn't happen. That's 17. 5 sent some kind of note between 6 months and a year later. That leaves 10. Of these, 2 never opened it when it arrived. They were busy. The other 8, one was pretty intoxicated when he sat down in front of the TV and fell asleep with it, then forgot where he put it till it turned up in the garage in early July with the car repair manuals. One assigned to a job applicant to test her prowess and see if she could be hired as a reviewer. So the reviewers reviewed the reviews of the reviewer applicant, and only one looked at the book, but that was to check on the review applicant, but they rejected the reviewer applicant because she gushed with too much praise to suit the really good, decent editors who were considering hiring her and that reviewed books to see if they could publish some good books and make a few bucks. And they tried hard to do a good job, except that no one reviewed this book I'm talking about. And since it didn't follow proper channels, they sent a reject notice to the author so he wouldn't be left hanging out there. Okay, we're down to 6, I think. They all rejected it, but never told him so. 3 of them mailed rejection slips that never arrived. 1 dropped the book in the bathtub when he fell asleep trying to read it there. That leaves 2. And of these 2, 1 thought it was absolutely wonderful when he read it on vacation, then got mixed up when he got back to work and recommended a different book. And the last one, the final one, the absolutely final one, was a serious cocaine user, and the firm was considering firing him, but he decided to beat them to it, and he committed suicide first. Someone thought it would be a rather tender gesture to let some of the things close to him be buried with him. And since this manuscript had a lot of his handwriting on it, they thought it was his, and so they buried it with him. So, believe me and believe them, getting published is a work of art. It is a war. It is a civil war. It is a revolution against older and definitely well-meant ways, but that have grown stale without being really noticed by the people truly trying to do good work as reviewers at the publishing houses. Oh, I forgot. And I have to tell you, and this is the truth, the honest-to-God truth. I swear it. I swear in a stack of Bibles. That's the kind of truth it is. Would I lie to you? He ended up borrowing from whomever he could, and he published it himself. And before the whole thing was over and all the dust settled, he had sold over 500,000 copies, and it's still in reprints. And this is true. Scout's honor, I swear. I won't lie to you. If I did, it probably wouldn't really bother you too much because, well, remember, you never heard of me anyway. So, everybody's safe, including the book of poetry that is like Neruda, Whitman, Shakespeare, and some of his simpler, less convoluted moments, Ferlinghetti and Ginsberg all rolled into one, people have said, but what do they know? But don't feel bad. Whitman, London, Mark Twain, Keats, Shelley, all had to publish their own stuff. So I see I'm in good company after all, except that they all got published eventually. So maybe I can just keep writing on borrowed money and in 40 years make it big at the age of 110. All honor to those of practically infinite wisdom, especially those who don't know a good thing because they never saw it.